They silence you with words, with fear, and with control. And maybe for a while you believed them. I've been there. You've made yourself small. You swallowed it like it was truth. You stopped speaking. Can you believe that ever happened to me? But I've been there. But listen, you're not invisible and you don't have to stay silent. Your voice belongs to you and it's time to take it back. No matter who has tried to take it from you, it is time for you to take your voice back. And today that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about how to take your voice back when other people try to silence it. Because what? That shit does not define you, right? Have you ever hit a moment where success wasn't enough? Where the weight of your past and the scars no one sees, or the doubts you don't dare voice, keep you from breaking through to the life you know you're capable of? Maybe on the outside, you've achieved more than most, but inside, there's still something holding you back. If that hits home, take a breath. You found your people. You found your tribe. Welcome to That Shit Does Not Define You, Stories of Hope. I'm Athena Captain, joined by my co-host, Jada Haycraft. This isn't just another podcast, friends. It's a space to strip away the labels, the shame, and the invisible barriers standing between you and your next chapter in life.
In every episode, we'll bring you raw, real stories of resilience, people who have rewritten their lives, and give you the strategies and tools to do the same. Whether you're climbing out of rock bottom or breaking through to your next level, your future starts here. Let's get started.
So today I want to thank you guys so much for coming and being part of this podcast. We're excited. We've got a great visitor today. And I love the feedback, Jada, that we're starting to get from our audience. And you guys, we're so excited to be here. Season 2. Please make sure to like and subscribe. You guys get this information out to as many people. What is the purpose? We want to make sure that everybody knows there is hope no matter what has happened to you. So Jada, oh my gosh, who do we have today? You know, I'm excited about her and why.
Yes.
Who do we got?
Today we have Kelli Nash. Kelli is the executive manager with Labrie. So sorry. I knew I was going to butcher that. Labrie Pure and Natural. She's an independent consultant passionate about all natural skincare. She didn't grow up with skincare routine and she discovered Labrie in 2020. She's inspired by the visible and real results and an aloe first formula. Is made right here in the US, and as part of the husband and wife owned company, she loves sharing the products that work for all skin types. Joining Labrie has empowered her with flexible earning options, free sampling programs, recognition, tropical vacations, and an amazing community that values authenticity and care. But that is not all that Kelli is today. So, Kelli, we are excited to hear your story. So, Athena, I will kick it back over to you.
Well, I just have to tell you, so listeners, Kelli and I have known each other for over 30 years.
You're that old?
I know. Don't tell anyone. She's not. She was a baby. She was like 12. No, I'm not. I'm joking. She obviously was very young. We were both very much younger, but I've known her for a long time. And even 30 years ago, her story inspired me. She impacted my life. I have the privilege of met a number of people in my life, but Kelli was one that I've never forgotten because of her tenacity, her grit, her resilience, and her heart. And I knew even 30 years ago she was going to go on to do amazing things. And so I have been stalking her, following her forever. And she is one of those people that literally um, has my phone number, and if she ever need me could call because I know the woman that she is. So I am so excited for you guys to get to hear her. She's going to be vulnerable today. She's going to tell her story. And I just have to say that bio was great. That's one business. Kelli, tell us though, before we get started, I know you own multiple businesses. And because a girl can't just do one thing when she's like dominating the world. And you have by the way, everybody, I'm trying to con her into letting me stay at her Airbnb on the coast of Oregon. So she's got that going on too. So Kelli, before we get started, there's more to you than just this one huge career you've got. Tell us what the other career opportunities you've got going on.
Well, oh goodness, I love to make people feel pretty. So I'm an esthetician and I do eyelash extensions as my day job. A little bit of waxing. That's just not as much fun. And I recently just started a hat bar. So it's a rancher hat bar. So you pick a hat and we do a workshop and you get to create the perfect cowboy hat or just kind of fun. And
Yeah.
I'm starting a pasty business too. Yeah. So, yeah. And then, of course, my skincare. And I just purchased a permanent jewelry business for my daughter, who is 17. So that's her new entrepreneur. She's catching up with me.
Love it.
But
I love it. Okay, so the hat thing, by the way, I just went to a party where they had that.
Really?
really?
Yes, so my so Savannah, my daughter, one of her besties, and they're all kids with special needs. Th I have to tell you, it was 50 special needs little girls from the age of 14 to 25, and they did that hat bar. And to watch the uniqueness of what they created, it was awesome. So, hey, that was so much fun. So, if somebody is having a party, you need to make sure that they know how to reach out for that because, Kel, that was so much fun. I'm not really a hat. I like hats, but I like fancy, 1950s hats, not trucker hat. But that's not really my thing. But it was very cute for the kids.
I love
So
it.
I love it. I'm glad you said that because I didn't you need to know that people need to get on that bandwagon. It was too much fun to watch.
It is fun. I was down in Nashville and I saw them making them, and I was in Scottsdale and saw them making them. I'm like, why do we not have that in Oregon? We do need it.
I know you do. All right, now we've gotta get more serious. So Kelly, thank you so much for being here. Now, Kelly, we've talked about your businesses. Obviously, you're a serial entrepreneurial woman. Um, but today I wanna get deep. You have had quite the story. So thank you for your vulnerability as we get going. So I just want to dive in here. You've had to fight for your voice in your life since you were a teenager. Looking back now, how would you describe the person you were when you first started at 16 or even younger? I know for you versus the woman you are today.
Say she was broke.
Yeah.
She had the drive. She had drive. Lots of, always hustling, always hustling. That's never went anywhere. But I would say she was lacking confidence.
Okay.
Um, was, was a young mom. I was 16 when I had my son, and my parents kicked me out, and so I had to figure things out really quickly. So I think that she wanted everything, but she never thought she could have it.
Mm. What do you think changed? When do you think that changed, Cal? Because even when I met you in you're in your early 20s, right?
Yeah, I think, yeah, I was 19, 20, right around there.
Yeah. I mean, when I met you, you could tell the switch had happened, that you could already start to see a better future for yourself. I mean, how do you go from being kicked out at 16, single mom? I know you're not telling the whole story there. I mean, it was not easy for you to when I met you at 19 and 20, you're getting promoted into management in a retail and you could already see it. What happened?
You? No, I know. No car, riding the city bus. It was tough working three jobs. But retail, I definitely think surrounding myself with people like you um, really helped me see and want to be a stronger person, and I wanted more. Um, I would say after that opportunity of management and retail, I joined as an independent consultant with a candle company, and I got the chance to see Jack Canfield. And he had us. He talked about you are the five people that you associate with, and what that looks like. What are their goals, what are their dreams, and definitely was not around those people that I wanted to be. Sorry if anybody's watching. Um, that was not where I wanted to be, but no luck. And then I think that just dreaming. But I think the biggest thing for me is I realized that moment that just because I was dealt that deck of cards didn't mean that
Yeah.
I had to keep that hand, that I could discard
Mm.
and I could have more and I could do more. And
I love that.
that
I
that
love
made a
that.
big change. Mhm.
And you
big
did
change.
really well there.
Yes.
You did at your first entrepreneurial, corporation. I mean, didn't you I mean, you excelled. Weren't you in the top? Or
Yes.
anyway, it looked like it on social media when I
I
was
was
stalking you.
Yeah, I love it. No, definitely. I was there for, well, 18 years. I was with that
Yeah.
company, and it allowed me to be a stay-home mom. It also went side by side with working full-time. It allowed me to travel. My first plane. I've been so many different places because of things like that. So it's a great opportunity. It was.
I love it. I love it. But I love what you said there that you started to surround yourself with people who believed in you. And then you were brave enough to, and by the way, that evaluation of the people closest to you and then making that choice, Jada, and I've talked about this on the podcast. That's not an easy, that's hard. You deal with crabs in the bucket, people who want to keep you down. And you also deal with in that transition, sometimes people, I know I have, you feel kind of lonely when you first make that transition. And it's isolating at first. Did you feel that way when you started making that transition and going forward that there was a little bit of a I'm lonely and where do I fit in?
Absolutely. I think probably the biggest, to be honest, turning point for that was
Yeah.
after I got married. I discovered that my husband was using substances and he was an addict. And so the day
Hmm.
that I packed my boys up to leave, that was a tough one, and because he's my best friend, and but he, went and got help, and that really helped because that changed our friend group really
Mm.
quickly, and
Yeah.
it was just him and I, and
Yeah.
we began to live a different lifestyle, or well, I was living a different lifestyle. I was working all the time, but yeah, it was hard.
That thank you for sharing. I know that was a difficult obviously a very difficult season when your best friend is struggling with addiction for sure, and it impacts your life. So going into that, a lot of people lose their voice in relationships or in life circumstances. Where was the moment or season that you realized I'm gonna speak my truth and I'm gonna start reclaiming who I am? Sounds like a little bit of it started then when you stood up and said, "No more addiction. I'm gonna change." But I know that there's more to that story. Can you like peel the onion back for us?
Yeah, I was strong then. Like, nope, me and my boys were first, right? But
Yeah.
and he was there for 18 years.
Hmm.
And 3 years ago, things changed. And I actually, believe it or not, I watched this Netflix series called The Maid, and it was a struggle to watch. And I realized I related to it much more than I could ever imagine. And I didn't realize emotional abuse was a thing. Um, when in that show, the social worker is asking her if she's been abused, and she says no, and she tells her, just because you weren't being hit doesn't mean you weren't abused. And that was a life changing moment for me.
Hmm.
um, I realized that my life, I've always thought that I had to have the perfect marriage, the perfect friendships, the perfect parties for everyone, the perfect careers to feel worthy and to feel loved. And I realized in that moment, that book that I had been writing this whole time and this 28 years of marriage, that the inside and the outside were completely different. The outside was pretty, the inside was ripped and teared and tattered. And I think during that show and watching that, and realizing that I wanted more and I deserved more, and I loving myself and my kids was more. That was what was worthy, and that was worth it versus having
Hmm.
that perfect.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing that. I gotta tell you, friend, it's been a long time since we have sat down, got to have a a coffee on the beach, and I will tell you, I really get it. You've met my previous husband, and after 16 years of marriage, 21 years with him, I didn't watch The Maid, but I had a couple of friends send me pamphlets about emotional abuse. And isn't it interesting that when you grow up with childhood trauma and hardship, that we somehow learn to create a picture on the outside that looks so pretty, and then yet we go home and it's not pretty at all? And we have protected that image so much that no one in the world knows how much hardship that we're going through, how difficult it is, and that truly we were losing ourselves in that moment. Um, my heart goes to you because I've been there. And it's hard to look back and think, where the hell, why did I let that happen? I'm a badass, I'm strong, I'm capable. Did you feel that way? Like, I looked back and I'm like, what? How does somebody like me let that happen? Did you have that moment?
Yeah, I thought, I was naive, you know,
Yeah.
years ago when he was an addict, I had no idea. He ate dinner with me every day. He was present, I thought, and then that happened again. I found out that he's using again. And, through this process of this during the main, and things just got really scary. And I
Mhm.
can't believe that I was living that and not noticing why things were so bad. Um, yeah, it's just kind of crazy. I feel like I'm a pretty with a chick, but
Yeah, you
you
are
want
with
to have,
it, chick.
I know, but I wanted to be a good wife and I wanted to, have all those things and, do what I'm supposed to do. And it's embarrassing. It was, but not anymore.
Yeah, don't be yeah, absolutely. I remember when I called it quits, I had so many people reach out to me and tell me, like, "I can't believe that you would let somebody so amazing." They were like, and you know what? I couldn't even be mad about it, Kel, because I perpetuated that. I'm the one who painted the picture of perfection so well that when I finally said, "Enough, I need my voice back, I need who I am back, I need to breathe again," that the world was like, "What are you doing? You're throwing away paradise." And I'm like, "This isn't paradise, it's prison."
No, same. It was a shock. I mean, it was a shock to the world, big time. I mean,
Yeah, I
we
think
definitely had established ourselves in the community with owning, a furniture store and, who I was. And I was very public on social media about our life because when people know and like and trust you, right? I thought I was being, and I mean, there was this couple friends that were like, I can't believe you stayed this long. I'm proud of you. But majority of them,
yeah.
they saw what they saw and they don't understand. And it was tough. It still is.
I wanna take a moment because I think this is really important for our audience, and I really appreciate your vulnerability here because Kelly really is she owns multiple businesses, she is, overcome so much in her life. Textbook, she is not the picture of somebody who would be emotionally abused and stay in that position. By the way, neither am I. However, if you have gone through, trauma at a young age, and let me just tell you, it blindsides you to your worth, your value, and your voice. Let Kelly and I be an example to you that that can happen and that don't shame yourself for it. Don't be embarrassed by it, that it can happen to the best of us. And so I know locally in Oklahoma, a woman who started one of the what I think best women's battered shelters called Palomar is an extremely successful executive, high society woman who was living in absolute abuse. So I want you guys to understand this. If you are living in the situation that Kelly and I are talking about, or my friend who started Palomar, get your voice back. Please don't be embarrassed, even if you have created the Taj Mahal on the outside. Okay? Be brave enough to face the haters. I mean, I had to face some haters. Boy, I got some hate mail. I still have people that refuse to talk to me because I destroyed this amazing person's life. And I'm like, that's okay. But anyway, I just wanted to take that moment. I think that's really important. And Jade, if you can put the links to Palomar, I only say that because if you're in that situation, Palomar is an Oklahoma City based. However, if you reach out to them, they may know of other entities that can help you if you're in an abusive situation and you don't know how to get yourself out of it. Okay. Really important. You've built multiple businesses and became a leader in actually every industry that you do. How did finding your voice again impact you showing up as a businesswoman and a leader?
Oh. how did it impact me? Oh, I think that, oh, I don't even know, Athena. You know the answer for me on this. I know you do. Um, I think that surrounding myself with these positive people and these other women and influential people allow me to influence others, especially my daughter, especially when her dad's not
Mm,
around, you know?
yeah.
Um, I think that it gets me up every day being a part of something like that. And it I want to influence others. I don't think my story is that exciting. I was very honored to have you ask me to be a part of this. I love to see you do what you were doing. Um, but I don't know. That's a tough one.
Well, I'm gonna just tell you, I'm gonna call you out right here. By the way, if you're listening to this, you may be facing the same thing Kelly is, and I'm only gonna say this because it's the pot calling the kettle. Because Jada could be like, look in the mirror." So I'm just saying, Kelly, you have been a leader since I've known you. You've been a leader for 30 years. You've been making an impact for 30 years. And here's one of the things that I think is interesting. When you truly have a humble heart just to serve other people, you often don't look in the mirror and see the impact you're having. And that's you. Um, I personally, I can't speak for you. I'm not going to transfer this nasty onto you, but I have struggled with imposter syndrome. I have struggled with not feeling like I'm good enough. I definitely, and I'm pretty open about this, I don't feel like I'm pretty enough, young enough, thin enough, whatever enough to be doing what I'm doing, pushing this brand global and building this empire to help people. But I'm going to tell you this, I don't need to feel it. It's in there. Right? And it doesn't matter how old I am or, chubby I am or whatever, it matters the heart. And that's what you've been doing, and you have been doing it stealthily. That's what I think is so funny. I think that you don't wake up and you don't think, "Oh, I'm gonna make an impact on all these women today," but you do
You know,
every
I
day.
I didn't know what syndrome was until I watched your podcast.
Well, praise
And
God. Did you
I
throw
was
it
like
out of the window?
I was like, "Oh my gosh, that sounds familiar."
Right? Like, well, I
Yeah.
know. So, how many people I know in your last business? I just want to give you some perspective. We're going to have therapy here for a second for you. How many? Welcome to Coaching with Athena. Um, in your last position before they shut down the company, how many people did you have in your downline?
Over 1,000, multiple.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And over the
And
years,
now, how
even
many
probably more
people?
than that.
Yeah.
With my skincare business, we're probably close to 400,
Hmm.
throughout the US. Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
I gotta say, that's leading people. Those are thousands of people who see enough in you to follow you. And
I
I
have a
think
great
that
tribe.
you
Bless
do.
your heart.
You
I
do. I
do.
just love it. Mhm. But I will say this, your impact because of your authenticity and your heart is, what you can see no matter what, and so I love that. I do have a question for you. So women listening right now, um, Kel, they've been shut down, by life circumstances, by a relationship they're in that they're not being honest about, or past trauma. Can you tell them, or if you were talking to your daughter right now, what would be one thing that you would tell them about finding their voice again that you wish you would have known earlier maybe?
I think, this is gonna sound really silly, you guys. This is what I do every day. And my girlfriend taught me this a while back, and I tell my daughter to do it all the time. And I tell people this all the time, is I high five myself in the mirror. You guys might have heard of that. Um,
No.
I I high five myself in the mirror every morning. And even if I don't want to, and it makes me laugh at myself, I'm just like, go girl, you can do it. You got your ass out of bed today. You know what I mean? You're gonna call that customer back. Whatever you're gonna do, you know, one leg and the other hand. But I think high fiving yourself, believing just one little thing a day that you think you can do, for yourself to encourage you that you can do it. I think listening to podcasts like you, Athena, I think is incredible. I think that my other big thing that I think is incredible that I make my family do, my daughter, is dream boards. I think what you put out there is what you
Yeah.
get. And I think
Mhm.
that I like to make people uncomfortable when it comes to that. I love to just show up at a local bar with all my stuff. And I'm like, all right, we're making dream boards. And it's amazing to me how many people in this world have never made a vision board, have never dreamed. I didn't dream until I was in my 20s, and I didn't know that I could have a beach house. I didn't know that, I could do all the things that I get to do. I could be my own boss. I mean, I'm completely unemployable from anybody else. I just start another business. um, you can too, but I think that, writing it out. What do you want? What do you
Mhm.
want to change? You can do it.
Oh,
And a high
I
five.
love that. I love dream boards, by the way.
Mhm.
Somebody just asked me, one of my girlfriends, we were getting pedicures late Friday afternoon, and she said, "What does Athena really want?" And this is what she said, Kel. She said, "I can tell you what you want for your adult daughter. I can tell you what you want for Savannah. I can tell you what you want for your husband." She's like, "But what do you want?" And I was like, "No, it isn't actually, but it's so audacious, the thing that I want, that I was like, I think I'm afraid to put it on a dream board because people will be like, 'Girl, please.'"
What is it?
But
You tell
she
us.
was Yeah, I'm gonna tell you. So, obviously, I told her, I said, I want to grow my brand to an international brand with literally 50 million plus followers, where we are filling arenas and we are doing workshops and we're changing businesses and we're changing lives. And we're connecting people to the things they need in order to not ever get stuck and to reach their potential and dream the dreams, and that's my big one. And the financial result to that, right? I want to retire my husband because he just wants to be a grandpa. That's what he wants to do now. And then and then I want him to pamper me. So, I want to be pampered and retire him. But the other thing, and this is the thing that people are like, "What?" I'm like, "I have a paid off house. It's nice enough. I could do some remodeling. I'd like to put in a pool." Okay. But what I really want, and this is the thing that I think people will think I'm crazy. My business partner and I have already picked out a jet, and I want a corporate jet. I already know what it looks like. I know where we'd put it. I know the mechanic. I know all the things, but I want it because as I speak around the United States, I don't want to have to go to the airport. I don't want
Yeah.
to do that. I want to go in my private plane, and I want to have access to my private plane, and I want to make just enough money. I know this sounds ridiculous, but so that I want to create memories. So I want to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to take a vacation and I'm going to get on my private plane and I'm going to go fly out to Oregon and go see my friend. And she go and pick me up from the airport and we're going to, for the weekend, have some coffee on the beach. That's what I really want. There's not a material thing else that I want more than that plane in the ability to have enough money to go travel and visit the people I love. So my friend was like, "I have never heard you say that." She goes, "I didn't even know you had the plane picked out." And I said, "Girl, I've had the plane picked out for 3 years, but I don't want to tell people like, yeah, I want a plane." The people are like, that's nice.
You just did. So now it's going to
I did.
happen.
I just felt the world. So now
You
I'm going to
did.
put
And
it
not
up on
only
my dream
that, but
board.
guess what? There's an airport where my beach house is.
Girl.
Looky there.
Yep. I'm
Look
telling
at
you.
that, girl. And I lied. I am employable because if you are filling these stadiums like you are, I might have to just be brave enough to speak at one of those and I'll work for you. I'll take it back.
Girl, you all right? Well, we put you down for sure because I'm going to be filling them. I will
You will.
sooner than
I
we
know you
think.
will.
But I will. All right. So I do have a question for you because you are an extremely loyal and compassionate person. And I know you give a lot of yourself. What do you do? What do these people do, or our listeners? And what do you do to protect your voice going forward?
It's my voice. Stay, oh, authentic to myself. I guess
Mm,
I think I stay with my boundaries, have my boundaries, you know,
yeah.
what I'm willing to take and not take, be brave. I mean, it's easier said than done on all of those, I think. Um, but if it doesn't feel good, don't do it.
Mm,
If it's you got yourself in a place, I think that I used to just do things because I was pleasing and other people, and it didn't feel good. And um, I want that integrity of myself, and I want that for others too, just to feel good about what they're doing in their life and strive for the better you, whatever it is that is for them.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Jada, do we know something about boundaries?
We do.
Jada's all about boundaries.
I set a lot of boundaries, some
Yes.
verbal, some I don't verbalize and tell people, but
Yeah. She's worked very hard to have those, but I will say this, and it's one of the things I respect so much about Jada, especially at her age. She's much younger than I am, and this is why I want people to hear this. Kelly, you just said boundaries. Jada is a life example of boundaries, and she believes in boundaries. Boundaries are not do not equal bitch. Can we just say that? Boundaries don't equal bitch. I'm tired of people saying that. Boundaries mean this is my line. I'm going to protect me, protect you, and protect. And boundaries are about respect, about real love, it's about safety, and it's about authentic relationship. No relationship without boundaries is authentic. Can I say that? No relationship without boundaries is authentic. Okay? So if you have somebody in your life that wants a relationship with you but does not respect your boundaries, red flag. Red flag. Just saying, right? But I love that. Now, Kelly, you, despite everything that you've been through and a lot of the modeling of parenthood that you had, and I know you had a great dad, though. I remember being at your wedding. God, she looked good. Woo! She looked good at her wedding. Beautiful wedding. But how are you modeling having your voice to your children?
I just had a moment, an aha moment this last weekend. It was our first time doing the hat bar at the county fair in Albany. And my daughter had her jewelry business. And, we went to set up and she's like, disappears. And she comes back. She's like, do you have water? And I turn around and she was just so pale. And I was like, what's wrong? And she's like, I just threw up 5 times. And I'm like, why? It was her anxiety. I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
man, I'm pushing her into this." Like, she's not like her mom. She's her simple, beautiful self. She doesn't need, for anything. And here I'm 17, trying to get her to get a job and, start her entrepreneur. And she was terrified. And I was like, what am I doing? Throwing her into a 3-day weekend at the fair. And I'll tell you, Friday we went and set up and she did okay. And Saturday she was just jumping in. Mom, I'll take the payment. I'll do this. If she was working my booth, I was like, can I get lunch? She ran the whole thing. By Saturday night, she was a whole nother woman. She was talking to people as they were walking by. I mean, they weren't even, it was, she literally became a completely different person. And she told me she made $700. And I said, well, half of that will go back to, the debt that you're buying your business. And the other half you can keep, but you do need to replenish your inventory. And she's like, yeah, I was thinking that the best sellers. And I'm like, oh my God, oh, look at her. She's just her little entrepreneur business self. And she was excited. And I feel like she got her confidence. And I think that is something that has changed is when you find that confidence, and she needed that confidence. And I think that
oh,
was a moment that was like the best mom moment that I've had in a long time, I think. And I think for her, she felt it. And everyone around saw it. My family was like, wow, look at Brooklyn. And she felt it. So I hope that answers
oh.
your question. I don't know.
You
I'm
did,
excited
that
about it.
was beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh my gosh, I love
Yeah.
that. I mean, and how proud am I of her, to go in the bushes and upchuck and be like, "I'm
Yeah.
doing it anyway." Do you know
Yeah.
how many people at 50 would upchuck and just be out, peace out?
Oh, yeah. Nope.
The
She's toughy.
bravery there, wow. I mean, that is what a beautiful example of, even if you got to upchuck, you're nervous, you get up there and do it anyway. And I love what you said, that she wasn't great the first day, but she did it anyway, and then she found her groove.
She did.
Mhm.
I mean,
So
as
much
a m
growth. Yeah.
I mean, wow. Okay, you should be proud. I mean, and I
And
know you are. I mean, wow. I what else could we ask for our children other than to have a moment where they find themselves and see what they're truly capable of, you know? Oh, I know we're all moms here, so that,
wow.
Jada only has a 1-year-old, but she's already, that little girl is gonna rule the world because
She has opinions and she lets me know.
I think it may have the apple fall from the tree well. But anyway, All right, Kelly, last question, we'll stay on in case you, please stay on because in case I interject and ask something else of you a little bit later. But last question here. What's one small brave step that you want to make sure that everybody hears to be able to claim their voice
One small step.
or
Besides high
action?
five, actually, I mean, high fiving yourself, I think is big. I think you guys should
Okay.
try it. Don't laugh until you try it. Don't knock it till you try it. And it's something you do every day. Yeah. I used to say, write things that you're grateful for. I did that. But sometimes I get busy, but I look at myself in the mirror every day. And sometimes I'm like, girl, what? But I'm going to go with the high five. I'm going to go back to
I
it. I think,
love
I
that.
think you should high five.
I love that. I think I may have to
No
do a
excuses on
co-blog
that,
with
right?
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have to do a co-blog sometime and we talk about that because I could use some high fiving in the morning some days for
I
I'll
love
send you
what
a
you
sure.
picture.
said too about, some days you get busy and you don't get a chance to like physically write down or journal or, maybe write out what you were grateful for the day or whatever it may be. But you always look in the mirror
Mhm.
multiple times a day. So there's always a chance to high five yourself.
Mhm.
Love that.
Yep.
I love it. All right, so Jada, let's just see. We're on a roll that usually the interview questions and the science connect. And by the way, we do not know the answers to these questions before we come up with science. So I like to see how it works. So Jada, tell us today. Give us some facts and figures because we've got to get that in, and then I'll give you guys the rubber meets the road so we can actually do something with this knowledge that we've gained from my friend Kelly today.
Perfect. Well, I'll keep it short and sweet on the science today, but you guys know I always got to nerd out just a slight bit. So, the first one is from the Frontiers in Psychology. They found that trauma, especially in relational context, abuse, manipulation, toxic relationships, impairs the brain's ability to identify and express emotions and needs. The more a person has been silenced, the more neural pathways for self expression are weakened. They can be rebuilt though through intentional practice. So that is the first one.
That's
Intentional.
true. I just want people
Yep.
to
Yes.
know that
Yep.
trauma does make you lose your ability to express yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The second one is speaking truth aloud restores a sense of agency. Really, what that means is studies have shown that verbal expression of personal truth, even to oneself or in safe places, activates regions in the brain associated with agency, empowerment, and emotional regulation. So, in other words, speaking out loud after being silenced literally will rewire your brain for self
Mm,
worth and strength.
yeah.
And then, last but not least, the third one is research shows that in post traumatic growth, individuals who reclaim their voice through advocacy, leadership, and personal expression report higher resilience, lower depression and anxiety, and a greater life satisfaction.
Mm,
So, in summary, trauma and silencing weakness or weakened self expression. Speaking your truth rebuilds empowerment in the brain and in your life, and reclaiming your voice is one of the most powerful steps towards resilience and healing.
mm, I love that. Wow. Okay. So I think that it's really powerful here for Jada. Can you put in our notes the definition of gaslighting?
Yes.
Because gaslighting is a tool that an abuser uses to get you to not have a voice. FYI. Um, so let's put that definition in there. But all right, you guys, as Beta's putting that in there, I want to do the rubber meets the road where you know I want you to be inspired. I want you to be motivated, but more importantly, I want you to have some action steps so you can change your life because you're worth it, right? So the number one step here, I hope you're taking notes, is take up space physically and verbally for yourself. I know that sounds really weird, but here's what I'm talking about. Stand up straight, put your shoulders back, breathe in deeply, physically do a posture of standing up for yourself. And as funny as that sounds, I'm going to tell you something. My massage therapist has told me that my shoulders from holding a guard over my heart and trying to protect myself emotionally has made it to where my shoulders have come in. And he suggested not only do I do physical therapy and stand up straight, but also continue to do the emotional therapy to allow myself to open myself up to vulnerability. By the way, the body meets the body and the spirit and emotion are all connected. So just standing in posture of strength will help you feel strength. Okay. I've been working on that. So if you see me sometimes just go like this, I'm not trying to put the girls out. I'm just like, okay, I'm vulnerable. I'm out here. I'm strong, right? So posture really matters. Your voice, it helps your nervous system. Um, and here's the other thing. I want you, number 2, disagree on purpose, kindly. If somebody tells you something about if they gaslight you or they tell you this is the way you need to think or this is the way it needs to be, I want you to, unless it just resonates 100% in your soul, I do not want you to just say, "Oh, okay." I want you to say, "You know what? That's interesting. Let me process that." Okay? That's interesting. Let me process that. Somebody else's truth for your life doesn't have to be your truth. Somebody else's opinion about who you are does not have to be yours. So start learning to disagree politely. And by the way, that little phrase I gave you makes it gives you just a little tool to do that. I wish I would have done that earlier in my life. I and another phrase you could say is, I see it a little differently, or here's my perspective. What I'm trying to get you to do is stand up and have your own voice and understand that you matter. Okay. Here we go with the boundaries. Number 3, set verbal boundaries. Okay. Now, what does that mean? Verbal boundaries are strictly this: you're in a relationship, any relationship, and somebody says something to you that does not feel good. Okay. Instead of emotionally shut down, we're living in a world right now where everybody is offended, everyone's triggered. I'm going to say a sidebar from somebody who actually has extreme PTSD. Don't Not everything is a freaking trigger, okay? Not everything is a freaking trigger, people. We are responsible for our emotional, responses. Can I say that? So here's a way we do that. Instead of just being offended and shutting down, what we say is, "I'm not comfortable with that. Please don't speak to me in that tone. That doesn't really work for me. Um, do you mind listening to my perspective?" These are ways to politely talk to somebody else, um, and maybe that we don't have to agree, right? So start with having verbal boundaries and taking back your voice. Next one, tell a personal story out loud. Now, you all know I want you to do that. That's why we're doing this. But telling your own story is your narrative. Okay. And your narrative is powerful because it reminds you who you are, where you've got, where, how you have gotten to where you're at. And it helps you figure out your own patterns. So tell your story. Interesting. I will just say tonight I'm going to a meeting at the nonprofit I helped found called Savannah Station Equine Therapy Program. And I am telling the history of the story because I'm the only founder left. And it is so critical that we understand where we came from, right? And the history of the story, your story, the nonprofit story, please don't sugarcoat it. Be honest, be truthful. Okay. Tell the ugly, tell the bad, tell the messy, because it's the overcoming it that tells the real story. Can I just say that? Tell your story and be authentic and be proud of yourself. Like Kelly. Kelly, you should be proud of yourself that you were a single mom at 16 and kicked out. You should be proud of yourself that you were in leadership and management by the time you were 19. Proud of yourself that you own multiple businesses. And I'm going to say this, you should be most proud of 2 things. One, that you stood up for yourself in a situation that would have been more comfortable for you to continue to compromise. And the last thing, that you, despite your role modeling, are a phenomenal mother raising amazing children. So these are things, that's the story you need to continue to tell yourself because it will remind you who you are and where you've come from. And that's what I want every single one of you to do. Um, be honest about, just how far you've come. So, in summary, I want you to take up space yourself physically. I want you to practice being disagreeably kindly. I want you to set verbal boundaries in a nice way. And I want you to go out and tell your story because your voice matters, right? I mean, this is why we're doing this podcast. Your voice matters. everything you've been through can inspire somebody else, and I promise you, you are more capable than you think, you're wiser than you think, and you are a beautiful human being no matter what you have done, even ugly, bad, okay? It's really important that you know how immensely valuable you are. That's really important today and that your story matters. So, Jada, where do we go from here and how do these people connect with my friend Kelly?
That's a great question. Kelly, how do people connect with you?
Oh, well, I've got this great little website. I've got a Facebook page. I got it all. But I love my skincare business and I would love to send samples out to anyone with real results.
Yes.
Aloe is the first ingredient and I love it. See, you can't even tell that Athena and I are our age because we look so young because of skincare.
I know. I thought you guys were 30, and then you said you'd known each other since you were 30.
Yeah.
So,
I
Yeah, I'm
know.
30. I wish.
Ugh,
yeah, but I
aging
will
backward.
Aging backwards, there you go. I have, Kelly's link to her website, so I will make sure that that is in the show notes. Also, I'm going to be putting the Oklahoma City Women's Shelter, called Palomar. Again, it is in Oklahoma City, but you are welcome to reach out if you're not in the Oklahoma City area and you need to be connected with someone in your area. Either they know someone or they can point you in the right direction. So,
Yes.
we'll make sure that's in there. And then also the gaslighting definition. I think that is very important. So we will make sure that that is linked in there. And then our only other request is if you did enjoy this podcast, we would love for you to like and subscribe, not only so that other people can find us that may be struggling with the same things you are, but so that you can also join us next week. You can find us just about anywhere. So, again, if you are looking for us on social media or other streaming platforms, search Athena Captain. She's a little hard to find because or a little bit hard to miss because she has a pretty unique name. So just search Athena Captain. But in all seriousness, this is not your practice life. So don't wait for perfect. Start messy, start scared, just like Kelly's daughter. Just start because nothing changes until you do. So take one step today toward the life you want and dare to share it with us. We will be here standing with you every step of the way. We'll see you next week.
Thank you guys.